You are walking down a busy street. Someone collapses 10 feet in front of you. Dozens of people are around. Surely someone will help? But you hesitate. You look around first. And here is the strange part. The more people who see it happen, the less likely anyone is to move. That is not a coincidence. That is a switch in your brain, and it flips whether you want it to or not. This is the bystander effect. And once you understand it, you will never watch a crowd the same way again. In 1964, a woman named Kitty Genovese was murdered outside her apartment building in New York City. Newspapers reported that dozens of neighbors heard her cries and did nothing. The story shocked the country. It became a symbol of urban indifference, of a society that had stopped caring about strangers. But two psychologists were not satisfied with that explanation. They thought something deeper was happening. Not indifference, something wired into the human mind itself. Their names were Bibb Latané and John Darley, and what they discovered would change how psychologists understand human behavior forever. Latané and Darley designed a series of experiments. In one, they placed a participant alone in a room and asked them to fill out a questionnaire. Smoke began seeping in through a vent. Alone, most participants reported it within minutes. But when researchers placed two passive actors in the room with them, actors instructed to ignore the smoke completely, something changed. The real participant almost always stayed silent too. They coughed, they rubbed their eyes, they kept filling out the form. Why? Because your brain is constantly reading the people around you for information. If nobody else looks alarmed, your mind concludes there is nothing to be alarmed about. Psychologists call this pluralistic ignorance. Everyone privately suspects something is wrong. Nobody acts because nobody else seems to be acting. And so a room full of people quietly agrees, without saying a word, that the danger must not be real. But smoke is just the beginning. Latané and Darley wanted to know what happens in a real emergency, one involving another human being in distress. So they built another experiment. Participants spoke to each other through an intercom, believing they were part of a group discussion. In reality, they were listening to a recording. One voice, playing a fellow participant, began to describe having a seizure. The voice grew panicked, it called for help, and then it went silent. When participants believed they were the only other person listening, 85% rushed to help within a minute. But when participants believed 4 other people were also listening, that number dropped to 31%. Some never sought help at all. Think about what that means. The presence of other people did not double the chances of someone helping. It cut them dramatically. More witnesses, less rescue. It sounds backwards. But your brain isn't calculating morality in that moment. It's calculating responsibility. And responsibility, once shared, starts to disappear. Psychologists call this diffusion of responsibility. When you are the only witness, the weight of the emergency lands entirely on you. There is no one else to defer to. But the moment you believe others are watching too, your mind quietly does the math. Someone else will probably call for help. Someone else is probably more qualified. Someone else already saw what I saw. That thought does not feel like an excuse. It feels like a fact. And it spreads through a crowd like a current, each person borrowing certainty from everyone else, until the responsibility has been divided so many times that no single person feels it at all. Here is the part that should unsettle you. This has nothing to do with being a bad person. Researchers found that people who failed to help were not cold or uncaring. Many were visibly distressed. Some later reported feeling intense guilt, even confusion about why they had not acted. Their bodies showed real signs of anxiety, sweating, trembling hands, a racing heart. They wanted to help, but something in the architecture of the moment stopped them. So what actually breaks the pattern? What makes someone step forward when a crowd stays frozen? Psychologist Latané, working later with other researchers, identified a specific sequence the brain must complete before anyone acts. First, you have to notice the event at all. Second, you have to interpret it as an actual emergency, not a performance, not an accident already being handled. Third, you have to decide it is your personal responsibility. Fourth, you have to know what to do. And